Hello, I am 1/3 of a man, and this is Late to the Party, your one-stop shop for Bright Futures recaps. You want to watch the Bright Futures campaign, but you don't have time to watch all of the backlog? Well, this is the place for you. Today, I'm going to be giving you a details-light recap of episodes 21 through 25 of the Bright Futures campaign. Let's jump into it. Episode 21 finds our heroes returning home on Dragonback after felling a difficult crystalline foe. Waiting for them at home is a basket of scones and a note from Mrs. Lee congratulating them on all the hard work they've been doing lately. The students find out the hard way that the note was forged when they sample the scones and succumb to the sleeping poisons baked into them. Shandi alone is woken early and whisked away by a group of mercenaries to have a boatside chat with Lord Resk. It seems that he isn't too happy about Shandi suddenly wanting to cut him out. To show Shandi that he's serious when he says that Shandi belongs to him, Resk has his lackeys kidnap Johnson and drop him, unconscious, into the lake before sailing away. Shandi tries his hardest to save Johnson's life, but he's unable to resuscitate his friend. Johnson's death casts an awful pall over the estate and forces our heroes to think more practically about dealing with the threats in their lives. While Tether works tirelessly to ensure a resurrection for Johnson, the others formulate a list of what they need to worry about in order of precedence. And oh boy, did they have a lot to worry about these days. We're going to be seeing a lot of Tether in episode 22. While having a conversation with Colrell about potentially resurrecting Johnson, Colrell gives her an out-of-class politics assignment. They want her to go into Kelshar and buy a stranger a drink. She doesn't particularly want to do that, but it is for school, so she reluctantly tags along with Septon when he goes to the tavern for work. At the bar, Tether meets a woman with distinctive facial piercings, who ends up inviting Tether to join her gang, though she doesn't exactly say what kind of gang it is. Tether's already a member of the Acorn gang after all, so really, what's one more? She agrees to meet the woman later to discuss joining on an official basis. The next day, the boys take a trip to Felfrick College with a basket full of questions. The first is about getting the cat ears off of Turn before he fully regresses into a cat. Unfortunately, Felfrick's cursed objects expert can't remove the ears for them, so they're forced to look elsewhere. The second question is less pressing, but no less prevalent. The hourglass our heroes removed from the crystal caves when Shandi died refuses to leave them alone. Inside it is a demon called Balthazar, who feels as though he owes the students a debt for helping him, so he won't go away until they actually accept his help. Septon seeks more information about Balthazar and Felfrick's demonology professor, who suggests that he could probably kill Balthazar for Septon if the Bright Futures Initiative would allow it. The jury's still out on that one. It's time for Tether to join a second gang. She takes the others with her to the meeting, but is of course separated with them because they're not going to be joining the gang. Apparently, this is a gang of thieves, one of the 3 major thieves guilds on the continent, as a matter of fact. Shandi does notice some familiar faces among its members, faces who Resk hired to kill Johnson only a few days prior. That was just business, though. They have no ill will towards the students. In fact, one of them is an accomplished curse breaker, so she offers to remove Turn's cat ears, provided the other students don't attempt to talk Tether out of joining the gang. They accept the conditions, Turn is finally decatboyified, and Tether becomes a full-fledged criminal. Phew, what a night. It's finally here! Episode 23 begins! Midterm season. The first subject our heroes must tackle is academics. Elipha gives them a couple of written tests to start, but the real jewel in the academics' midterm crown is her hands-on history lesson. She throws the students into an illusory battleground with one goal: identify the historical figures attacking them before those figures defeat them. To her surprise, they are wildly successful. Who knows? Maybe her teaching is finally starting to stick. I hope you're a good test taker, because there are many more exam shenanigans in episode 24. This time, the students take their politics exam. Colrell leads them through literal hell on their way to a marketplace on the distant continent of Kruth, where everyone speaks a different language and speaking common is expressly forbidden. Without offending anyone or getting kicked out of the market, our heroes must hunt down the contents of Colrell's shopping list in 1 hour. The gang splits up to divide and conquer the market's offerings. Una's telepathy saves her and Shandi a lot of trouble with overcoming the language barrier, and Turn plays dead, giving Septon the opportunity to steal one of the required items while no one is looking. On his way to rejoin his friends, Turn encounters a man who looks eerily similar to Colrell and calls himself the Jade Prince. He helps Turn acquire another item from the list before disappearing. Colrell isn't happy to hear that the Jade Prince is in town, so they hustle the students back to their state as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, the group is stopped in hell on the way. Someone tipped the guards off that Colrell might be carrying contraband, and Colrell has a pretty good idea as to who. They eventually make it to Zymor a couple of weeks later than planned. Tether commits her first assassination in this episode. Woo! Surely the others would be proud of her if she was allowed to tell them where all her money came from, but there's no time to dwell on that. It's time to prepare for their third and final midterm with Brahm. He takes the students into Kelshar to stock up in preparation, and Turn and Tether decide to take this trip disguised as each other to see if anyone else notices. Of course, everyone notices immediately, but it seems like the green team is having a pretty good time, and who would the others be to deny them that? The ruse continues, for now. Episode 25 sees the students completing more real-world hero work. On the way to Brahm's midterm, they run into a little fort with a big problem. This fort has been besieged by a group of peritons, deer-like monsters with eagle wings and a thirst for elf blood specifically. Our heroes must eliminate this threat at the source, with the exception of Shandi, who Brahm takes with him on an alternate mission. The remaining students hike up the mountainside outside the fort to relocate the Periton nest and destroy it before even more can be bred. Turn and Tether have kept up their ruse so far, but it proves tricky to maintain in combat when they go so far as to use each other's weapons. In the aftermath of the fight, Una puts an end to the charade, seeing as it nearly got both Turn and Tether killed. They return to the fort victorious, and it seems like Brahm and Shandi have been successful as well. Finally, the real tactics midterm can start. Brahm and Agile Mask task them with retrieving Agile Mask's dog from an old wizard tower. Many twists, turns, puzzles, and monsters await them in its depths. And that is it for episodes 21 through 25 of the Bright Futures campaign. Now you are up to date. You can watch episode 26 if you wanted. I think it's good. I don't remember. Or you could keep watching the recaps, because I don't know how many episodes exist at this point in time. But one way or the other, if you want to watch these episodes in full, and I do recommend that, because there's not a whole lot of details put into these recaps, so they're brilliantly written. Thank you, Peebs. Those videos can be found on this here YouTube channel, the one you're watching right now. And if you want to join us live, you can do that as well. We stream this campaign most every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on our Twitch channel. That would be twitch.tv/DungeonParty. And on days that we're not streaming D&D and aren't Saturday, I shouldn't say that because my schedule might be different when this airs, or when you watch this, you specifically. We play video games on other days and then D&D on Sunday. Sorry. But yeah, until next time, I've been this thing, and yeah, see you later.